Hey everybody, I'm Paul Earhart, co-founder of Second Time, and these are my thoughts on the Hublot Big Bang Black Magic Evolution. So before we begin, a little bit of history about Hublot. It was founded in 1980 by a guy named Carlo Crocco. There's not a ton of information about Mr. Crocco, other than he was part of a big jewelry and watch family that started a company called the Binda Group. But Hublot was actually the first watch ever produced with a precious metal case and a natural rubber strap. It took them 3 years to design, and as soon as it came out, original Hublot was the most popular watch in Monte Carlo. Hublot is a French word. It means porthole, and so when you look at the watch, whenever you look at Hublot watches, you can sort of see that general design aesthetic with the exposed screws and the sort of flared out ears that exist on the sides of the case, and it's to mimic a porthole. Hublot was a relatively quiet brand until 2003, which is when Mr. Crocco decided he wanted to bring someone on to manage the watchmaking end of the business while he focused more on his charitable endeavors. The man he chose is Jean-Claude Biver, one of the smartest, most dynamic leaders in the watch industry. At the time, he was the president, I believe he was the president of Omega, and he came on to become the CEO and minority owner of Hublot. And the first watch he launched was the Big Bang. The name was super appropriate because it really was the birth of a new company using fusion as the basis for design. So it wasn't about a single metal, it wasn't about a single material, it was the fusion of all these things together. And that's sort of also why you see Hublot design change with the Big Bang to a slightly more modular case where pieces can be changed and pieces is allowed to grow. And just like its initial success in 1980, the Big Bang helped Hublot reach even higher levels of success, and Hublot was eventually sold to the conglomerate LVMH in 2008. It's called the Black Magic because it's made entirely out of zirconium oxide ceramic, which is one of the hardest materials known to man. It's hypoallergenic, it's ultra resistant to scratching, because once it's through the process of creation, it's done. There is no way to sort of damage it other than to break it into pieces. It's called the Evolution because it's the evolution of the design that was originally launched in 2004. Originally, all of the pieces had a very similar finish where the lug sides would be polished and the centerpiece would be brushed. The straps would all be the same. They'd all have the same texture, and the dials would have a carbon look. They would be stamped in carbon with a pattern, with a carbon pattern, and then they would have Arabic numerals alternating with stick markers. The Evolution dial has a genuine carbon fiber dial, which I love, and it switches from the Arabic markers and regular markers to just regular markers. It's definitely different from its previous generation because first things first that leaps out at you is the all matte black ceramic, which is like a perfect stealth look for a watch, rather than it being polished and brushed to sort of mimic the material finish on metal. I like that it's very, very different from any of the other pieces. I also like that it's got white luminous material and bright markers and hands, so it's different from an ice bang, which is, those are made of tungsten. All right, now that we've got all that history out of the way, let's talk about the watch itself. So first things first is the packaging. I am not a huge fan of these outer sleeves that go on boxes. Like, I don't understand why you need to protect the box with another box and then a sleeve to hold all that together. But you know what? I'm sure there's a reason, so let's not get too deep into it. This box is deceptively light for the size. You'd think it'd be a lot heavier, but I think it's cool. It's made out of a different material, so it's a lot lighter than, say, a wood box that you might get from any of the other brands. But we're seeing a big change in packaging for most companies now. They're going to lighter, easier to ship packaging. So here's the watch, 44 millimeters. So it's a bigger piece. Definitely looks great in that matte black ceramic. And I love the newer style genuine carbon fiber dial. It's got an automatic chronograph movement, so you all know that it uses one of the most popular chronograph movements in existence. I won't say which one because I can't tell definitively from the back, but it definitely can perform and it can be serviced relatively easily. Comfortable rubber strap, which is an Hublot signature, a great fold over deployment clasp with with a double button deployment, and very comfortable on the wrist. It wears a lot. It doesn't wear 44 millimeters. It more wears in the 42 range. So short lugs, strap, and the monochromatic look really help it sort of size down a little bit. Yeah, overall, it's a great piece. I definitely would recommend it for somebody that wants to move into a slightly higher price point without going all the way in, because Hublot has changed this watch again to include their manufacturer movement. The manufacturer movement is called the Unico. The Unico changed the pricing significantly, and I always like to go for a more industrial movement for service purposes. So I definitely recommend it to somebody that wants to move up a little bit, have a piece that they can wear and not worry about, and they don't have to be scared at service time. I also love the H-shaped blackened screws. That's super cool. Even the clasp is blackened, and it's really not something you need to do, especially because this is a huge point of friction where any sort of coating could definitely rub off. But it's a nice trick. It's a nice touch for sure. Those are my thoughts on the Hublot Big Bang Black Magic Evolution. If you want any more pictures or you want any more information on this watch, definitely head over to secondtime.com. If you like this video, please subscribe to our channel and all of our social media. I've been Paul. You've been you. Thanks for watching.